So finally, this video is going to be all about the command line, how to use it, and how to get around. So first of all, of course you're going to have to buy yourself a switch. So for the CCENT, I would recommend buying maybe two 2950s. They don't have to be power over Ethernet. They can just be regular 2950s with fast Ethernet ports. No need to go all fancy or anything, just a base model, and you should be good. Right here is a picture of a 2950. So when you first get it, of course, you're going to take a look at it. You're going to wonder, now what the heck do I do with it? So the first thing you want to do is go ahead and of course, put it on your desk, plug in the power, and you want to go ahead and get your RJ45 rollover cable. I did plan on getting a picture of that here, but of course I didn't. Let's see. It looks a lot like that. So pretty much your device usually comes with a rollover cable. You'll notice that this is a DB9 connector here. This is an old school connector. Most laptops or computers don't have this anymore. So you have to buy a USB to DB9 converter and put that on your laptop, install the drivers and all that good stuff. Connect this to the USB adapter and then connect this end here to your switch. So now that you do that, there's a couple of things that you need to keep in mind. So because I didn't think about this before, let's go ahead and do this. What I want you to do, if you're on a PC, there's a different method to do this on a Mac. It's a little bit more, I guess it's easier if you have the drivers for the USB to DB9 converter. That would go right here. But for me, I've already installed the drivers, and now what I need to know is some information. What you want to do is go ahead and download PuTTY. This is a free software it's pretty much a terminal software, and if I open it up, here we have our basic session. So here we can telnet into our router, which is port 23. You can SSH using port 22. So in our case, we're going to be using telnet for the most part. But when you are connecting via a console port, you want to use the serial connection. Now that serial connection operates off of a COM port on your PC. Now by default this puts in COM port 1, but in most cases you have to find out what COM port you are using. And to do that, you can navigate over to your control panel. I'm going to open up just a library. Then I'm going to right click, go to properties, then device manager. So pretty much just navigate to your device manager, go to your COM ports, and then right here I have my USB to serial converter is COM port 6. So right here you want to go ahead and put in COM port 6, and then that should be good. Now some other information that you need to remember, let's go ahead and just do this. 6 is, let's see, is actually probably better illustrated on secure CRT. Oh, but here you go. We have the connection and serial. You want the baud or the speed to be at 9600, 8 bits, 1 stop bit, the parity is none, and you want the flow control off, so COM6. When you open that up, and you have, of course, your computer connected to your switch, right here you will open up your COM port, and you will be able to, of course, serial into it. So now, right now, I actually don't have a serial connection directly to the my switch. I'm actually using an access server. So, but nonetheless, you will be able to go ahead and get to your switch, and there you are. So once again, you got an RJ45, you connect it, you set up a serial connection, whoops, and now you'll be able to see the switch. Now what I want to do here is go ahead and do a reload. That way you can see the actual boot up process. So I'm going to disconnect and then reconnect so you can see this. So this is what happens when you first connect to your Cisco switch and you have your RJ45 connected, and you pretty much you turn it on right away. So here you're going through your post. It says a MAC address of the switch itself. It's initializing the flash, which is going to load up the image. So this is a base image that I have. It's IP services. This is a 15.0 in this case. So it's going to go through its thing. It's going to load up the image onto the RAM or the non-volatile memory. And this could take a little while, but we'll wait patiently. Now, I really love Secure CRT. I think it's like a really great tool, and it's a lot better than PuTTY in my opinion. So if you can dish out the money for it, I guess I would do it. But if you don't, then PuTTY is more than fine. You can customize PuTTY quite a bit also. You'll probably get you will get like a, I believe is just black and white or black and green. You can change up the colors and the appearance here. You can mess around with that to make it look the way you want. I like the black and yellow feel. Anyways, so here it says that the the rights about Cisco, what switch I'm using. I'm using a 3560 in this case. The software version. It's going through some more stuff. Just doing some post testing. So it's checking the CPU. It's running a number of tests just to make sure that it passes. This here tells you again how much this is how much memory you have. Here's how many fast Ethernet ports. I have 2 gigabit Ethernet ports at the end of that, and these are actually the SFP modules that we can use. Again, MAC address. So here we have that summarized information here, and then pretty much at this point the switch is up. So now you just press enter a couple times and you'll see, would you like to enter the initial configuration dialog? Now you could go ahead and go through it, but for the purposes of the actual exam itself, you will not be going through the initial configuration. You will be setting up a switch manually. So in most cases you are going to type in no. Alright, and then you will end up here. So the first thing that you need to understand is, what does this little caret or this arrow mean? That means that you are in user configuration mode. Okay, from here you can run some show commands, which is pretty much the first thing that you're going to be learning how to do. The first command that I want to show you is how to view the IP addresses on the interfaces that you have. So this switch, like I mentioned before, has 24 fast Ethernet ports and 2 gig Ethernet ports. So you can type in show IP interface brief, and that'll give you the list of your interfaces, your IP addresses, your status, and the protocol. So the link status is pretty much what it's telling you is the link actually on and is it being used? And the protocol means, is there actually a protocol that's running on that link? So in this case, we're on VLAN 1 by default. Every switch will be on VLAN 1 by default, and each port will be on VLAN 1 by default as well. So right now I have something plugged into Ethernet, fast Ethernet 1.0. This 1 just means it's on the first module. In this case, let me bring up the where. In this case, I have the, well, there you go. I have the 3550. So 0 means that it's on this first module. It's a little difficult to understand, but in this case there will not be more than one module because it's a single blade. So it's on blade 0, which is this one, and Ethernet 1 is this first one right here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way down the line. Let me look for a another example. Let's look for 6509. Let me show you an image of a 6509. So here's a picture of a 6509. Up here is blade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this first number up here represents what module it's on. Each of these are a module. So this one here is module 7, and if we're talking about this first port right here, that would be 7/1. That's essentially what that means. Pretty simple to understand, so just wanted to get that out of the way. Now at the very bottom here, you'll notice it says more. If you click enter, you'll go down one more line and it'll bring up one more line of text. Or you can press space and it'll bring you down a whole page. So let me run that command again and press space, and notice it'll bring you down a whole other page. So there you go. So right now no IP addresses are assigned. No IP addresses are assigned in this case. The port seems to be okay. Yep. The status is up and down on most of these. So that's a good command to remember. So another thing that I want to show you is a tab completion. So let's say that you want to either 1, speed up, or 2, you just want to tab complete because you're lazy. Or you know, efficiency is a good thing. So let's say I don't want to type show. So first of all, if I wanted to type that command again, so I could press the up arrow on my keyboard and it'll show me that command, show IP interface brief. That is the full command. But if I wanted to do this, I could do show IP int brief, and that'll come up too. So another thing that I can do is if I don't want to type the whole command, so I do show IP int, but I want to see the whole word, I can press tab, and that'll automatically complete the word. And if I put BR, it'll go ahead and complete it for me. Now, let's say that you are on show and you do IP and like, oh, what was the next word? You can press the question mark and it'll show you a list of commands and what to do with them. Of course, I'm pressing space. So you kind of go through here. Oh, there you go. Interface. Show IP interface. So now going back to the tab completion, if I press I and then put tab, notice that it's not doing anything. It's just going back to this whole thing. So the reason why it does that is because if you look back up here, there are other commands that also have an I. So this I would be ambiguous. In fact, if I pressed enter, it would tell me that that is ambiguous, which means that it could represent multiple commands. It could represent IGMP interface or IRDP. So it essentially just means that you need to type more. So if you press a question mark, it's like, oh, it started with an I, but I don't remember. You can press question mark, and right there it shows you you can type IMGP interface or IRDP. Oh, interface. So notice that this one here, they all have an I in common, but as soon as I were to type the N, it will accept that one, that command, show IP int. So right here's interface. If I type an I, now that is the only command that I can possibly type next. So there would be no need to type any more. So at this point here is BVI and brief. If I type brief, there you go. So it's pretty much shorthand. When I first started, I really wanted to do the entire command, so show IP interface brief, just to kind of get used to typing the commands. Now, let's just say that you're going through and it's a really long text here and you want to pretty much quit. So notice how right here it says more. If you press the letter Q, it'll quit and it'll send you back to the user mode. So once you start getting used to typing the commands, you can use tab completion. I usually do that when doing most examples, that way I can go quicker and at the same time show the entire command. And then once you get really good, you can just start to abbreviate the commands like that. Another thing that I want to make you aware of is, let's just say that you only wanted to, this is actually not too good of an example because we can do this in other ways. But let's just say that you wanted to see show IP interface brief only for fast Ethernet 01. So what you can do next is type this pipe. The pipe stands for output modifiers. It's essentially for modifying the output being all of this information. So now here you can type in things like include, begin, what's some other ones, section if supported. So let's just say that we want to show IP interface brief for every line that includes, in this case, 01. We're only interested in seeing 01. So you type that in, and there you go. So now, right now, it's showing me 01, and it's showing me 010 because it includes that as well. So let's just say that we wanted to make it unique. We can put single quotes around it, or what was it, double quotes or single quotes? Might be I actually don't recall. I don't actually use that one too much. But essentially, if you want to learn how to modify or see less of the text here, you can go ahead and use those output modifiers to do that for you. Okay, so next, from this point, you can't actually do any configuration. Here you are in user mode, which means that you're only able to pretty much just see some basic things. You can't even see the entire command, the entire running config, because you're not in enable mode. So the next command you usually type here is enable or en. So you could type en or enable, and that puts you into this hashtag mode or pound mode, which is the enable mode. And from here, you can show the entire running configuration. So if you type show running configuration, this is a default configuration that this switch has. Pretty cool stuff. So from here you can make changes. You can enable some services for password encryption and things like that we'll talk about later. And then there's one more mode. There is configure terminal, or major mode I should say, and this is a global config mode, and here is where you can make a lot of the changes regarding the interfaces or whatever the case is. So here would be config interface mode. So let's just say I wanted to go back. There's a couple of ways to go back. If I wanted to go out from configure interface mode to global config, I can type in exit. So it takes me back 1. So I'm going to go up arrow. That'll take me back to the interface mode. I can do end, and that'll take me back to enable mode. So that's pretty cool, huh? So what is this here? So this is a log message. So this is letting you know that there is something that was configured on console through the console. So there's a timestamp that we have. Of course, this is not the correct timestamp, but we'll talk about that later. So if you ever see this, you will don't get scared. This is just a message that it wants you to know about. So now let's see. So you might notice that when these log messages come up, your cursor might end up being right here. If you just press enter or tab, it'll take you down to the next line. So it might be throwing off some of your configuration there, in which case I'll be showing you how to fix that with the logging synchronous command in the next video. So those are pretty much our modes there. So I showed you end. What you can also do is do a Control Z, and that'll take you back to, okay, so notice here how my cursor is there. That's fine. You can just press enter, and that'll take you down. So let me show you that again. And let's just say I was typing really quick, and yeah, notice how that kind of disrupted my text. I was typing something up here, and then, oh man, it got in the way. If you just press tab, it'll put you right back where you were at. So that's the point I wanted to get across here. So that's pretty much how you can sort of get around the command line. So you got user, the user interface. So of course, if you want to get out, if you just press exit, type exit, and so there you are at user. To get in to user, just type into global config. I'm sorry, into enable mode, type enable. To get into global configuration mode, type configure terminal, which is the full command. You'll almost always see me type conf t. And let's just say you wanted to, you know, set some kind of commands on the interface. You'll just type in interface and then the name of the interface. So we have a whole bunch of types of interfaces, but this is do fast Ethernet 0/1, and here you can go about changing the interface. And if you want to go back, just type end, and then you're good to go. So that's pretty much the basics of how to get around the command line. In the next video, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to do pretty much a basic management or the basic setup of a switch. It's pretty much going to get you to the point to where you can manage it outside of a console cable. Because what we want to do is actually enable these devices for telnet, so you don't have to be sitting in the networking closet and freezing your butt off trying to get these things configured. So in the next video, I'm going to teach you guys about the management, how to get the configuration up and going just to manage a device from telnet. So it's going to be teaching you guys how to operate, how to set up a banner, set up passwords, basic IP addresses, and some other stuff I can't recall right now, but I'll have that video ready for you guys soon. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up and let me know. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.